Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back for another race here in the European Racing Series. I'm Ben Ragger McConnell, and joining me on the caster's desk is Jamie Amcasa Elder. How are you doing? Is he muted? Am I good? Is it my fault?
No, I'm here.
It's
Sorry,
a
I pressed the magic button. It didn't unmute me for me, but I'm not too shabby. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. Much better than the weather is currently, as you can see.
Yeah.
It's a little bit damp, to be slightly honest. I mean, it's looking like only intermediates, but I have been informed that the race is actually going to be dry. So there's going to be
Aw.
interesting qualifying, but it's really where the strategy comes into place. And I think, given the fact that it is going to be wet, it means that they're all forced onto the same tire, which is good for us. So now this is probably going to be the most accurate prediction we're ever going to do. What's your top three prediction, mate?
Inaccurate at the same time, though, when you come to think about it, because being on a slightly damp track, it's all about just how you take the lines and finding that little bit of grip that you need. Maybe just if you have a little slide, hit the wall, that's the end of that. Especially if it's on that last flying lap, when that little dry line's starting to appear, that's where it's going to be quite crucial. Duxbury's already left the session. He's off to a good start.
Yeah, and
Don't
you
know.
have to be really amazing in the wet conditions to be able to chuck in, a pull lap time on these sorts of conditions. It's just so hard to be able to really be fast in the
Yeah.
wet, especially from. I mean, I can't do it physically. It's just so difficult.
Well, this circuit's not very forgiving. You think about it, at least it's not a city circuit, but it is still a street circuit. That's the thing about this track. The walls are still very close throughout pretty much the entire track. The only place you've got a bit of runoff is down at turn 10, the hairpin. At least if you lock up there, you've got somewhere to go. Turn 1 there's a bit, but there's still not a huge amount, as Mesa's going to show us a flying lap, but I think it's going to be... Oh, Mesa just nudges the wall there. Hopefully no damage from him. I think with the dry race coming up, it's all going to depend on who wants to go for it in qualifying with a wet setup, which is a bit daft thing to do, but I still think
Yeah.
Yonti's going to put it at the front. Yonti... Brownlee's not here yet, or again. Yonti... I think Yonti Meister... I'll go Yonti Meister past the man.
Okay, all right. I want to.
Ooh. At least you didn't go for him.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't choose to do it. I mean, I wasn't going to anyway, because I mean, there's just so many other drivers that are insanely quick. Yonti is obviously a man that we can rely on. He has been relatively quick in qualifying overall. I say relatively as in that he's not been necessarily always number one, but he is still in a great place nonetheless. So, I don't know. P1, I'm actually going to go Maze to P1.
Oh.
With Spicy P2 and then Yonti P3.
Oh, you put your spice up there.
Yeah.
Interesting call. Well, we'll see how that one works out for you. I'm not massively confident on my prediction of Fragiega P3, but every time I predict him, he actually does a decent-ish race. And that's why I'm backing him again. Because if I keep predicting, maybe he will get that win that he's so desperately after. He's had a third place a couple of weeks ago in Spain. Last week, not so good, he came 7th, but that was Monaco. So we can let him off a little bit there.
Yeah, I think so.
But again, this track has that similarity with Monaco. The fact, as I mentioned, those walls are so close to you. Yes, there's some runoff areas, but on the exited corners, there's no runoff. There is a wall next to the curb, and you make one mistake, and it's so easy to make mistakes, especially when it's wet here. It will just completely ruin you. And most notably, I think, we'll do a flying lap later, but it's that chicane of 8 and 9 that we see quite a lot of people making mistakes on and nudging the walls, combined obviously with the final chicane. But who should we have a flying lap with?
I was kind of waiting for Hazard, to be honest, because he's the sort of driver who would do okay in these conditions.
just
He do
coming out.
a relatively good lap, but he's sat in the pits. So ultimately, right now, the only person we can go with is Jurislav, because he's the only one on and out lap. And I think we should
Go
do
on,
that.
Meister.
Do you wanna take it
Meister's
away?
about to start a flying lap actually. Well, he might be doing a flying lap, he might be on an in lap after this, but yes, he's on an in lap. Great, thanks Meister. He could hear us talking, couldn't he?
Well, Hazard's on his way out, so I guess we'll wait for him and then we'll go for it.
Yeah, okay. Let's have a look where Beaker is. He's coming up. Beaker's coming up to that fabled 8-9 chicane. They're just so keen to get the power on, and that wall, like all the walls, is just really close. And that's what's going to take a lot of... There's going to be a lot of front wings being nudged off here. And the other thing to watch out for is the pit lane entry. We don't often talk about it. In fact, this is probably the only track I'm ever going to talk about the difficulties of getting into the pits. Because the braking point for the corner is about 20 metres before the braking point for the pit lane, it catches drivers out. I've seen it in other leagues, they just plummet into the back of the guy in front thinking, oh, it's okay, he's going to get out of my way, or we're going to brake at the same time. You don't, and you just smash into the back end of him. But hopefully we won't have any issues like that today. But it's not. It won't be surprising if it happens. It nearly happens in the official F1.
Yeah. Well, Beaker did a lap, but he invalidated. So let's quickly go to Hazard, who's now starting a hot lap, and take it away, Amcaster.
Okie dokie. As we go through the home straight, DRS would be enabled if it was a race, but it's not. It's wet. And turn 1, and that's a mess of turn 2 already. That's not the best start. Sorry, Hazard, for jinxing you. Turn 2, long right-hander. Should get the power down. Hazard's really struggling to get the power down. Come up to the second chicane, turn 3 and 4, sort of downhill corkscrew type corner. Through a little kink at turn 5. Not really a corner, but Hazard's trying to make it a corner. Up to 6 and 7, and DRS on the exit here. Detection point for that is just before the corner. If it was a DRS enabled at the time, that's where it would be. As we come up to what I just mentioned, the 8 and 9, the little barrier just on the inside kicks out just a smidge that can catch you out if you're unlucky. The exit can also catch you out. But DRS detection point for the home straight was just back there. It's right after the corner, which means you can make a dive straight into turn 10, this hairpin. And it's a tight old hairpin. So slow through there, 45 miles an hour to 50. But then you get the power down as you go through the kink of 11 up to the kink of 12. And they are officially corners, but they're not really corners when you think about it. As we come up to 13-14, the final chicane, the Wall of Champions, or as I call it, the Wall of Chumps. And we won't often see people doing that too much. It'll be more the people putting the power down a little bit too soon, actually going to the wall on the left-hand side. You see a lot of that in esports lobbies. But yeah, say that wall on the left is the worst one than the wall on the right. So they just put the power down just that fraction too soon, and they just fly into the left-hand side, don't they?
Yeah, they really do. Okay, so Spicy's currently making me look good. I did put him in the top 3. He's currently set at P1 as it stands with a 1:18.568. So it's still opportunities for things to change. It's not over yet. Mesa's there as well. He's actually not that far off him. He's less than a 10th behind him. So it's still a good opportunity. But Dennis is actually much higher than I thought. I mean, I don't know if he's just a king in the wet or what, but he's looking good overall. I want to see Vexation as well. Vexation is currently on flyer down there in 1:19.420, P7 as it stands. But this is that was a wobble. He's getting a little bit aggressive on accelerating. He's ran deep. That's his lap over.
Well, I'm just on board with Jurislav. He has 2 invalidations so far. He needs a time, especially in the wet. You just want to get a time on that board. I mean, ideally, if you can put it in the 19s, that'd be great. Because people like that, that's what happens. Fragiaco, DNF'd already. That's just yellow in sector 2 and 3. Still yet sector 2. And Jurislav's bringing that one into the pits. He's had enough of it.
Yeah,
so
I don't blame him, to be fair. I'm not sure. It says sector 2, which he said, and he's messaged me saying oversteer. So he's definitely binned it somewhere. I can only imagine that was in the chicane before you come to the hairpin. Mesa's gone faster though. He's 1:18.397, so a good time from him. Spicy's got to answer that at some point when he decides to come back out of the pit. Still got 9 minutes remaining of the session, so there is absolutely no rush for anybody to go for right now. There is, I believe that was Duxie B. Yeah, it is. Duxie B's coming to the line now. He's slightly faster, so he might. Yeah, he does. He improves. 4/10s actually. Never mind, slightly. And he's only actually 9 thousandths of a second behind Yonti. And that's a little claim to fame there, isn't it, really?
Well, at the moment, yeah, but as I say, we're still 8 minutes left, 8.5 minutes left of this session. So
yeah.
People could just be sticking it in. Oh, yeah, nearly losing it. Putting it in lean and just getting laps, putting some rubber down, getting a feel for the track. And yeah, I think Frederick might have gone off at 6 and 7 chicane. I could be wrong. Okay. I saw some green flags down there, but that could just be cars moving slowly.
Yeah, and the other thing to remember, guys and girls, is that it is going to be a dry race. So the tyres that they're going now, which is why you're seeing them doing 5 laps on these intermediate tyres, and you may even see them do a few more than that. It's purely them just getting the laps in, just trying to improve the lap time, switch onto tyres later on again that they can go on. Because in the race, they can choose whatever strategy they want. And we've talked about it a little bit before we start commentating in terms of what we think the strategy is going to be. I've argued that ultimately, if you're going to start outside the top 10, you want to sort of go on mediums and then work out what is, how far can you actually take them, and then necessarily go onto the hards or softs, respective of where you need to go. But obviously, the longer you go on the mediums, if you can't make it far enough to go on the softs and you've made them too far on the mediums to go to the hards, you really put yourself in a predicament, like Dennis has just done when he's lost his end plate in the Wall of Champions.
Yeah, there was a bit of a barrier sticking out there, and Dennis found it and hit it. It's a bit unfortunate. I'll see if he's coming out towards us. See if we can see it. No one's anywhere near it at this point in time. I think Spicy's one of the closest. And we might just say Spicy's on a flying lap. But yeah, I was arguing for, if you're going to start outside the top 10, go on hards, because then you have, yes, okay, they're not going to have that much grip, but you have an easier option of going softs or mediums. If you start on mediums, you're then going, well, if I can't make, let's say, half race distance on these, then yes, I can go onto the hards. But the further you go through those mediums, the less you want to be going onto the hards, the more you want to go onto the softs. And you may end up two-stopping onto softs, thinking it's going to be quicker than going softs and mediums to hards for, let's say, 15 laps. And on board with Spicy, that wall just there on the right-hand side, you can see it sticking out a little bit.
I was in a camera angle rather than an onboard, so I missed it just a bit. But Spicy does improve it only slightly.
Go on board quickly with Vexation. On the right-hand side, just before the Pirelli, there. It sticks out a little bit. I think that was from that big hit from... Who was it that gave it a good whack?
I saw Dennis get it. That's the only one I've seen.
I think someone else
has had it.
But yeah,
anyway, let's have a look where Jaroslav is. He's currently going through Sector 2. He's just started his third and final sector. No, he's starting his third and final sector in just a second, but he's actually looking okay. And he's not managed to get any lap times in currently. I believe he's invalidated a couple already, and 2 on before, and he then decided to go into the pits and go again. We've still got 5 minutes 40 remaining of the session. We're not yet at the calm before the storm, but ooh, that's not an optimal line.
No, I don't know how grass feels when it's raining. It could just feel like you're trying to drive on water.
It can, and it will bite you. That's the thing. If you accelerate or brake, if you disturb the balance even slightly, it will kill you. There's no doubt about it.
But Jaroslav has a time on the board. Finally, he's up to P9, so not too bad from him, despite trying to trim the grass for us.
Yeah, that's a good time overall, but still, Meister, my boy, he's actually set me up perfectly for the 1-2 as it stands. I've got the 1-2 right now. All that needs to change is this man here, Yonti. Down in P6, 118.931 is what he's on currently. As it stands, at least, he has to improve by half a second and a bit more in order to make it up to be ahead of Spicy. But for me to get my prediction correctly, he only actually has to improve by 4 and a bit tenths.
Yeah, his teammate's currently out on a lap. P4 for Bika so far. He's on a fly. He's up by just over a tenth at the moment. So hopefully he can just find a little bit more through this last section and get ahead of Vexation. 4.5 minutes left of this session, so a couple of runs left for each of them. Yeah. One cooldown and one flyer, really, isn't it?
It is. Bika's looking good there. Here he comes to the line now. I've just seen his time a second ago was over a tenth over, and he's now 2 tenths over, which puts him in a solid P3. Meister improves as well. I like this. Keep it going, Meister. I want to get this 1-2 prediction at least. And I think you can forgive me. If I get a Haas in the P3, I think, I could take that, right? Can I take that as a 99.9%?
You can take that as 2 out of 3, yeah.
Ah, okay.
Or
well, he's out on track right now anyway, improving. He's 7 tenths up currently, which puts him right there in P2 as it stands. Come on, Yonti.
Well, we're about to find out if he can get more than 7 tenths. If he can get 8 tenths, then he can put this towards the front. Final corner gone through nice and easy. Powered out towards the line. Where is he going to be? He's looking very good.
Ouch. Okay. All right. All right. Maybe your prediction's looking better than mine. I mean, you're not going to get anything more than a 1-2 because your number 3 is currently dead and gone.
Yeah.
But still, a 1-2 from you. I mean, and Yonti's time 1:17.791. That's insane.
Is that just a sign the track's just drying out a little bit and these inters are starting to become a little bit better? Or
Well,
just what?
I don't
mean,
know.
there wasn't much time difference between him and Meister's laps in terms of when it happened in the session.
Yeah, exactly.
So maybe just Yonti found a little bit more grip, hit a corner just so perfectly that Meister can't even get close to him. But we'll soon see. 2.5 minutes left, so they've got a cooldown, another cooldown, and then they can go again, really, isn't it? They've got
Yeah,
a
pretty
long
much.
time.
Oh, Dennis might actually be lucky here. I don't know if he's on an outlap. It says he's not currently. He might have been validated early. He's actually 3/10 up. I thought he was going to get some slipstream there down the back straight, but no, everyone's dived out of the way, which I don't blame them for, keeping themselves out of trouble at least. But I think in this one instance, you'd have actually hoped that they'd have carried on as per normal, and then he could have got that slipstream like, is it Meister?
He's backed out.
No, it's Vexation that's doing.
He's just
Vexation's
backed
getting
out.
the slipstream, but he's on an outlap.
Meister just backed out. Is he going to bring this in? If he brings it in, he's going to have a quick change around. The answer to that is no. He's just letting everyone through, then he's going to go again. Spicy has backed out of his far. Flying lap is down at the hairpin at the moment. So he'll be resetting himself as Yelp has gone. That's sector 1. Where was that?
I think that was a choice retirement because he's actually improved. So he was behind Fred Giocco. He was down in like P11, I think it was. He's improved. He's put himself P9, but then he's retired from the session. I think he's happy with his performance. I don't know why he wouldn't go again personally. You're not going to use these tyres in the race, so you've got nothing to worry about. You absolutely
Dennis!
go for it.
I think that's just an invalidation there from Dennis. He just did Sebastian Vettel on the corner. Not quite as bad as Vettel did, but still pretty darn terrible.
Yeah.
He does have time to do another lap though. That's one thing going for him. Along with everyone else, they've got a minute left of the session, so those people who've just started, who are probably just going to the end of the first sector, still have time for another one, if they want another one.
Yeah, I mean, look at Meister's time, by the way. He's brought himself very close to
Meister's
Yonti,
done.
so whilst we were doubting him,
Meister's done.
I don't think he is. He's cutting corners.
He's got
I think
red
he's going
fuel.
Oh, yeah, he is. You can't do anything about it.
Yeah,
that's
that means
a
he's
sad
got
man
one
there.
lap of fuel and he's going to run on rich. There's no way he can improve on that. Yonti has just started. He is not on red fuel. He will be going to beat himself. Spicy, he's down at the hairpin. There's Meister sat there doing nothing.
Is that Duxie B? Duxie B's just jumped up to P5 as well. 1:18.520. Beaker's just beaten
Here comes Spicy,
Spicy's time.
He's coming up to the line now. Final chicane. No, he's in the pits.
And into the pits.
Okay. Well,
Alright, P4.
that's you done.
Yeah, it is. I mean, but it's a really good day for Haas. Look at that, a 1 and a 3. Overall, that's pretty solid. There are also 2 of the 3 drivers that made it into the 117s.
Yeah.
Which suggests to me, I mean, it could be just indicative of the wet conditions. It could be nothing more than that. But, you know, at the same time, it could be Dan popping himself up there. Oh, wow, Dan. Where did that come from?
That wasn't in the script. That was nowhere near the script. I'm just on board with Vexation. He's coming towards the final chicane now. Can he get up there? Yonti's in the pits. He's done. So he won't be improving. So if Vexation or Dennis can pull something magical out of the bag, or even Duxie B, if they can pull something magical out of the bag, that's a big corner cut there from Vexation. Has he got that? I don't think he's going to be there. It's going to be a decent lap though. P6.
Yeah.
It's Dennis.
Close.
Dennis is coming. Dennis is flying, but he's not going to be faster.
So, oh, no, he's definitely not. There he is.
Oh, that's a bit anticlimactic.
I've heard from Hazard that he's having throttle issues. It's sticking on and flickering everywhere, and it's totally undrivable. So I'm not sure what he needs to do in order to fix it, but it's not looking good for him. I mean, his quality time's obviously been taken a hit as a result of it. He's currently sat at 121.715 down in P13. He's outside of the top 10. Does get the opportunity to do Hazard things. This is basically the standard storyline that he usually gets when it comes to these sorts of scenarios, and he can pull himself right up the grid as a result of the penalties other people get. And this is Canada. Canada is a track where penalties are absolutely crucial. They're going to happen. And if Hazard can drive the usual drive, if he can get his pedals fixed first of all, and then drive his usual drive, then he'll be looking pretty, but not as pretty as this
Look at
man
that
on
top
top.
three, though. Look at the
Yeah,
gap, the
it's
top three.
too close. Too close. I mean, even top four, it's still only a
Yeah.
tenth. It's only there where it's just separated by a tenth. But here is your qualifying rundown. Yonte is in P1, albeit barely, as Dan is just there on the back of him in P2. Meister in P3 with Beakett in fourth. That's where the 1/10 gap sits. Then you get 6/10 out is Spicy in P5, Vexation in sixth, Duxby seventh, and Dennis in eighth, also rounding out the 1 second margin. Then you got Jurislav in ninth. Yon the Bamus rounds out the top 10 with Marinella Baby being the best of the rest. So, I'm told, and we're about to see in a second, it's going to be a dry race, which tells us that they're going to be able to set up a strategy. Yeah, there it is.
Oh,
and it's
lovely
actually
sunny.
looking quite sunny as well, isn't it? That looks like a little nice summer holiday somewhere.
Can we go there?
I think we should.
Yeah.
Maybe 1 year. But if we look at the tyre situation in just a second, that's when I'll ask you for your prediction, because ultimately that's going to play a key strategy. When we briefly touched in the qualifying, I think obviously that plays a huge factor on this track. Hards, I think, are just a bit too. I personally don't think hards are the tyre to go onto. Just purely the performance you get from it is not sufficient. The degradation's obviously great. You know, you don't really have that much of a problem with them, but you also lose so much performance from them. You know, it makes you think maybe you should just sit on the mediums and go to softs. Take the mediums as far as I can, and then go into the softs at the end of it. But it's gonna be an interesting one.
Yeah, we'll see how they do. Just wait for everyone to make those final changes to their setups. Obviously, they may want to take a little bit of wing off now it's dry. Set those fuel levels, set that strategy, get themselves onto the grid, and they'll be getting on there any moment about now.
Always one in there. There's always one you gotta wait for. So waiting for Dan to finish up his loading. Obviously the strategy has already been sorted out. You can actually see if you look just behind the names there on the right side. The cars are actually on the grid already. They've already decided what the strategy is going to be, so they're going to need to be thinking about the long game now, I think, for a lot of them. Those outside of the top 10 more than likely will have gone onto the hard compounds, except for those that may have gone onto the mediums. But yeah, we are just waiting for Dan. As soon as he's ready to, we can talk about
I reckon we're going to get a complete mix of tyres. I reckon it's going to be almost a complete, as in a third of each tyres. I think that's going to how it's going to look, just completely randomised, effectively.
Yeah. I agree.
As soon as Dan can ready himself up, we can go in. I'm just wondering why it's taking so long, because I think we're about to see Dan DC.
Issues.
Could
be having issues, but we'll
because
have
of
to
a
wait.
glitch, we're restarting the lobby. Lobby's being restarted.
Perfect. Right. Well, in that case.
Oh, as we get into the race.
So we'll still continue talking whilst we're on the screen, but obviously we don't necessarily want to see all the bits of us rejoining, getting the lobby back up again. But we're going to be just talking a little bit more about Canada, the track in general, and the sort of scenes that we've seen so far in just that one qualifying session. Yeah, it was a wet qualifying. The thing to think about, though, is how... Was there anybody there that really saw... I mean, Dan surprised us, right? We didn't expect him to beat P2, and albeit by literally 800ths of a second. That's crazy. And my concern, though, is that we don't see him do that in a normal sort of dry race. He actually tends to struggle a little bit when it comes to that.
In qualifying, when it's a bit wet, that dry line starts to appear, and maybe it was getting to the point where he had to be the last driver to get the best time out of that track, and maybe he just was in the right place at the right time, got that perfect lap, and absolutely nailed it. The other thing is he may have had a slightly wetter setup on that car, and it worked well for him. Maybe that's why he failed to get to the next screen.
Potentially.
Conspiracy theories for you.
Yeah. Turned his hacks off. Lobby glitched out. That's it. That's all it can be.
Convenient.
He's got wall hacks, aim hacks, a lot of them.
Wall hacks. You don't want wall hacks. You don't want to be able to hit the wall.
No. Well, no, unless your wall hacks are that the walls don't affect you.
Well, I think
that'd be an interesting, wouldn't it?
I think Max Thorne might be interested in some of those.
Yeah, he'd very much invest in some wall hacks, wouldn't he? No, but I mean, let's think positively about this, because overall qualifying was still pretty solid. The top 8, I think it was, were all within a second of each other. It was really close knit battling anyway, and this is a track that really promotes wheel-to-wheel racing and DRS overtakes, slipstream, diving into the insides and corners and stuff, and you know, I'm thinking every corner on this track is an opportunity for you to slip into a position. I think the only real area that's sort of a difficult area to attack in is the final chicane. I mean, I've been on the receiving end of it. It didn't work out for me.
Well,
But you know, that's how it was.
it's not a hard place to attack it. You just have to give space and receive space at the same time. I think the hardest ones to attack into is 3 and 4. Coming off turn 2, yes, okay, if you get a bit of an oversteer or the guy in front puts his foot down a little bit too soon, he'll light up his rears, you've got a chance. But with such a short straight, you've got to make a real proper dive into there, and then even then you're going to end up in the wall. Similar going to 6. Again, if you get the drive off the corner and the other guy doesn't, you've got a snifter of a chance, but I think just the kink in that little straight takes away any overtaking opportunities. But I think sector 2 and 3 are where we're going to see a lot of the overtakes. That's basically after that corner, 6 and 7 is technically sector 2, but after that, you've got DRS straight, then into 8 and 9. Okay, we won't see many people going for an overtake into there because the detection point for the next straight is right after that corner. And when I say right after, I mean it's literally as soon as you straighten up, detection point is there. So then you can make those dives into the hairpin, get the position, and then use the DRS to pull away. And you have 2 DRS straights with that one detection zone along the back straight and then along the home straight. So you might see some people making the moves into this, and especially coming off that corner, people just get the power down a little bit too soon, lose the back end. They're going to be completely sitting ducks, even if they got like nearly a second ahead. That DRS extra power and the fact they just haven't messed up the corner will give them a great chance to move past them.
Yeah, exactly. I love this track. It's actually one of my favourite tracks to watch for the official F1 calendar. It just promotes so much stuff, and obviously this year it delivered. You know, with a ton of drama, not necessarily drama that we were expecting to see, but still drama nonetheless. And hopefully we get to replicate that into the track and into this simulation world that we've got here. I'm just looking at the drivers and I'm thinking, Jon Labamas, for example, who usually does really good in qualifying, but obviously didn't do particularly well. I think it seems that he was struggling in the wet conditions. He strikes me as the kind of driver who thrives in the dries, you know, and that's, you know, it is what it is in that respect. He's got a lot to learn, obviously, and I think ultimately he's going to be trying to improve himself here. But obviously, he's not against just any random people off the street. He's against some really solid drivers. You've got Mesa, Hazard, Yonti, Beaker, Duxie B, you know, even Fred Gioco lately. He's been absolutely incredible just as of now. And then obviously Spicy. Dennis, who I think when he can keep... See, the thing about Dennis, right, is he's actually quite quick. He just isn't consistent.
True.
That's his problem. He just has so many mistakes. That's the problem. If he could work on his consistency, if he could take out the problems, then he would be fine. He would absolutely. I think he'd genuinely be in the top 5, pretty much every race if he could remain consistent. But it's like he just sort of. The only way I can describe it is when you're trying to run, and in your mind you're thinking I can run much faster than this, and you're trying to run absolutely rapid, but your legs are saying I can't do this, and you start stumbling and you fall over. That's this kind of situation I see whenever it comes to Dennis's races. I would love to see him really step his game up and properly work on his consistency a little bit. But I think he's a bit too comfortable in his current situation. But you all heard those beeps. You know exactly what that means. We are about to get back underway with the Grand Prix here in Canada. Everything's been set up as before. The drivers are going to be told to go onto the same tyres as they were set on before. The only difference is that those in the top 10... In fact, actually, I've just realised there was a wet qualifying, so there is no difference.
I was going to say, what on earth are you on
fine.
about? But you've corrected yourself, unfortunately, before I got a chance to watch Shame.
Yeah, I beat it.
You beat me to correcting you, which is something you shouldn't be saying in the first place, but... Yeah.
I clarified, okay? It's because it's so usual for this sort of stuff to happen. You won't get this in the official F1 because obviously you don't have these problems.
You will. You don't often have them, but there are still problems that you can still get. Quickly
lobby restarts in F1.
Not lobby restarts, but the changing of tyres and weathers. And things.
Yeah, no. I think it actually happened this weekend, didn't it? Pretty sure there was an investigation. I think it was Kimi Räikkönen who got investigated for having the wrong tyres on.
But he had an interesting excuse, didn't he? When you think about
I didn't hear the excuse. I only heard the investigation.
Well, no, he got hit with a fine. I can't remember what the reasoning was for it, for him thinking that he might be okay. But anyway, that's done and dusted, isn't it?
Yeah,
I just wanted to quickly talk about standings quickly. Well, we've got about a minute and 30 seconds.
go for it.
Yonti is your current championship leader, 53 points. 53 points. This is round 7, by the way. He is 53 points ahead of Meister. He's won 3 races out of 6, has Yonti. And then just behind him, so Yonti's on 1, 2, 3, Meister's on 70, Brownie on 64, he's not here again this week. Hazard on 75, Francesco 51, sorry, Beaker 45, Spicy 43, Scary 40. There's a bit of a gap back to Maradona Baby on 23, and Duxby on 19. That's your top 10. Durf 17, Thig 16, Jurisav 10, Overspeed 9, and then there's a few others a bit further down with not a lot. You're speaking about Dennis. He's got 0 points in 2 races so far. He's got 11th, then 12th. So he's going backwards, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's sad. Like I say, it's purely down to his consistency overall. And it's also not surprising that he's gone for the tyre strategy that he's on right now. I mean,
I've not even seen
remember, he's gone for the softs. He had the choice to choose whatever he wanted. There was no qualifying restrictions now, which I think he's done the wrong thing. If you want to start, I mean, these guys that are in the top 4, they know exactly what is the strategy here. I honestly think they're going to be going mediums to softs. I actually remember racing here not long ago, and I'm pretty sure that's what I was doing. And it felt great. The softs really don't disintegrate as much as you think, but you need the grip around this track. It is Canada after all. It's a great track to spectate on. And what we'll do, after the first lap, we'll do predictions, because I think we need to wait for that carnage. But it's going to be an interesting situation anyway. Here we go now. Lights are on. Everybody's in their grid boxes, and as soon as they drop, we'll be seeing them sprint towards, effectively, turn 2. Is that little kink on the right-hand side. Here we go now. It's going to be down to Yonti to decide how he's going to get away with it. Dan has took off like a bullet. He's going to be on the outside going into turn 1. There's a big mistake there from Beaker. He's going to drop a couple of places as a result of that. More contact further downfield, but nothing too severe. Everybody's still alive. I've not seen any wing damage.
No.
And I think Hazard's managed to fix his pedals.
They go 3 wide into the second chicane, though, and that actually's come out all right in the end.
Oh!
No, it hasn't. No, it hasn't. That's Dennis.
And Dennis, yeah. Again,
Yeah.
just talking about his consistency. You can see where he's had issues. He's already going down the inside here of Yonabamas, and a big shove there from Dennis into Yonabamas. That sends him just over to the outside a little bit. I don't know whose fault it was on the initial incident, but it's not looked out really good overall. I
suspect it was Yell. He was on the inside of the corner, so he probably ran a little bit wide, thinking Dennis might get out of the way, but didn't, because there's a wall.
Oh, Meister. Where did that come? Meister's just managed to get the inside on Dan there, get the cutback on him, and he's immediately up into P2. He's already looking for an opportunity on Yonti. So Dan, whilst Yonti managed to claim that place on Dan again to recover it, Meister just slipped on in there as well and says, thanks for your DMs, I'm going to go further than that and actually get that position from you too. Up into P2 now. Yonti's had a bit of an issue there. He's actually ghosted, and that's brought Meister to be alongside him. There you go. It has been repaired. And as it finishes after the first lap, Yonti's still leading with Meister challenging.
Yeah, Dirk just made a nice move on Marinella Baby down the back straight. I was having flashbacks to your race a few weeks ago, thinking, uh-oh, what's he going to do? But thankfully, Duke managed to get past before the chicane this time, so there's no issues. And Vexation is close to Dan. What's happened to Zaxi B? Sorry, Dan had a great start, has just fallen back in the second part of the lap, hasn't he? He was leading.
Yeah, he was. I don't know exactly right. I mean, I know he made a mistake in the hairpin, but it can't have been that severe. He lost 2 places in it. Surely that's just not something you hear of. But I mean, he's still not doing too bad. He's there in P3. He's only lost 1 position overall. And I mean, actually, whilst we're talking about position changes, the biggest winner so far is Dwip. He's obviously gained 4 places, and the biggest losers are currently tied. Dennis and Yonabamas have both lost 4 places each. Hazard has actually lost a place, but he did make a mistake going in towards turn 2. He's on the hard tyres. I think they're still warming up as it stands.
Yeah, Vexation's on the rear. Duxby's gone defensive, so Vexation won't be coming through just yet. If he can nail the drive off this corner, he has a chance, but Duxby just got a good drive as he could have done. So it won't be any move from Vexation this time around. But he's still there, and this front 5 battle's really quite tight now. In fact, Beaker can catch up, he can make it even tighter. It's 3 mediums out front, then 2 softs behind. Yelp had a pit stop, by the way, for his new nose. And Dennis hasn't stopped, but he's going still quite quickly.
He almost went
Rankings.
very quickly into that wall as well, but yeah, he's doing okay. He's in P11. He's trying to push himself as far up as he can. He just did a beautiful overtake on Maranello, baby, throughout that session there. Mesa was looking for an opportunity on the inside of Yonti, but nothing could be delivered. He also knows now this is lap 3. DRS has been enabled, and this is an opportunity for Mesa to take Yonti down the back straight. Although he's looking for the inside here into the hairpin. This might be a mistake here because I think there's the detection line. This means Yonti's now got DRS, and Mesa is in the firing line. Or am I wrong? No, I'm wrong.
Detection line for the DRS is before. It's just after turn 9. It's a long way back.
Well, Yonti might actually lose out another place, and he's had to go defensive there. This is an opportunity now for a mistake to be made, and Dan to capitalise on it, and he just can't. But DRS again, this is more for Dan to just hold himself together, and Vexation and Duxie V swap places.
Yeah, big battle going on behind. Beaker's coming through down the inside. He goes. And they go side by side with Duxie B's just ahead. I thought there was a little nudge there, but he's just now behind. He's going to get the drive off the corner that he wants. He's now still alongside, but Duxie B's just a nose ahead as they go into the chicane. And Duxie B's still holding off for now, but Vexation got through and can now set his sights on that front 3.
Yeah, absolutely. So Dan's falling away a little bit, but granted it's only just a little bit. He's still within DRS range and still within attack range ultimately, and that's what is crucial. There's big battles still going on. Realistically, this is a P4. It goes from P4 all the way down to P9.
Well, Vexation made a mistake, sorry. Vexation made a mistake off that corner, which means Duxie B's closed up just a little bit more. He's not going to make a dive this time, but actually I want to look at the front 3. I'm sorry, ignore those guys. I just want to look at the front 3. They are still so close. Actually,
yeah,
Beaker's getting close
it's getting
as well.
a bit tense now. Yonti's got a DRS as well to defend now. So Dan needed to capitalise whilst Yonti didn't have it on the last lap. Couldn't do that. Yonti's now just sort of bringing himself closer and closer to the back of Meister. If he can get a good exit out of this corner, he might be able to attack, but it looks like Meister did a just as good, if not better, exit. Although Dan, he's really capitalised on this. Yonti's actually going to have to go defensive down the inside. If Dan can get round... And no, he can't, so there's nothing that can be done here. He tried to get for a little snip down the inside, but Yonti blocked that door, said, not a chance, Sonny Jim. I'm holding out to him, lost hazard.
Yeah, maybe his throttle's had enough. Just got on board with Yell and come up to see where it is.
I think it's a pit lane.
It's a pit lane, yeah. Look, he's got 0 tyres. That's a pit lane retirement.
Yeah.
He's had enough. So
yeah,
let's
I think his pedals are still broken.
Yeah. Well, we've got a few little battles here. We've got 1 to 3 having a battle, then 4 to 6 having a battle, then 7 to 10 having a battle. So it's a nice little collection of trains we've got going on here. Dan is trying to stay in the battle for the lead. Just a little lock up right there going into the hairpin, but he's still closer to Yonti than Yonti is to Meister. And Yonti just had a little lag there as Dan got a chance to make a move here. He's close. Is he going to send it? He's going to send it. This is not going to end well if he sends it from that far back. And corner cut to come off. And nothing to come out of it. What about Duxie and Beaker? And that's Spicy. That's Duxie. He's not close enough. He was close.
Yeah, Beaker managed to get past, I think it was on the last lap. So he's now just sort of sizing up Vexation. He's looking for his throw. He's trying to bring that back in together. But look at Yonti. He's lost so much time now to Meister. Something's gone wrong for him. I know the final chicane lost a lot of time for him, but this is drastic. He's not been able to properly go for it. And that's... Oh, that will help him though. The 3-second time penalty for Dan. You could see he just cut that corner far too much. But if he's got one already, he's either an insta penalty or he's already had 3 warnings.
Well, yeah, it's quite easy to cut corners here, isn't it? It's just there's so much room on the inside that you just take a little bit too much. You can make one mistake in the first part of the chicane, you just slide across. As Fragioka has just lost 2 places on this lap. As Duop's looking to make moves on Spicy, trying to go around the outside of the hairpin. Not an easy place to make a move. And just got to hope it doesn't compromise your line coming off, as Mace's got a nice lead already over Yonti.
Yeah. Oh, Dan's getting too much. Oh, that was a mistake there. Dan's had to cut that final chicane there, and he's made a big mistake. Dennis has retired from the session. Dan almost made it. He almost closed up enough to be able to capitalise on Yonti's pace being a bit slow today. And that was just all into bits as soon as he broke hard and nearly went off wide. Oh, virtual safety car. Interesting.
Yeah, Dennis has just retired from the session, so maybe that's the cause of it. Spicy's just nearly clouted the back end of Jury's. I think he got away with that. So I'm just watching the battle back here in the midfield. And it's looking as number 8 is quite spicy.
Yeah. It's interesting that he's not really lowered his ERS. It's virtual safety car. He's already running very low ERS. Yes, he's on the hard, so he's got no choice but to push. He's the only driver currently on the track that's still on the hards. And that is... I don't know why he's not started conserving. He needs to conserve that
This
ERS.
is spicy.
Yeah, look, he's on 25% ERS and he's still sat in mode 1. You want to
He's
be in
in low
mode
fuel
0,
as well.
turn it off. And now he's got back up to mode 3. I mean, it looks like the virtual safety car is about to end then in that respect. So we'll watch as it disappears. If it disappears.
Well, we don't get told when it is ending. We just get told when it ends. And yeah, so he's on yellow fuel and really low ERS. He needs to work out what he's doing there because that was a big mistake from him. That entire, there's about a half a lap's worth of virtual safety car. He could have saved up so much ERS, but yet he was running it in mode 1, 2, 3, and 4, just randomly. And
the other thing that I'm concerned about is he's the chasing car. The chasing car has the ability to use very little ERS because you've got so much slipstream, you've got so much DRS to work with, especially on this track. You've got 3 DRS zones, I think. You've got the home straight, you've got the middle straight, and then you've got the back straight. And it's just, how is he struggling so much for ERS? It doesn't make sense.
No, I've got no idea. He has now got away from Duke, but he just needs to keep up the pressure on Drusov and try and make a move. Drusov's tyres are going to go fairly soon. I mean, Fredchek has already had enough of his softs and gone to mediums, so
yeah,
they're going to start to go in the next lap or two. And he needs to get ahead of him before he gets held up.
Yeah, that's true. So, Spicy, looking for an opportunity on Jurislav. Made a few mistakes there in that little series of corners, which has actually brought Dwight back into this a little bit. Yeah, he's still 3/10 and he's got DRS here, but Jurislav is going defensive. Look at the ERS levels again. I know we're talking about it a lot because it's just so mind-boggling how he's in this position. He should be laughing all the way to the bank here with the ERS levels. And like we said before, in the chasing car, you have the ability.
Duke's just nudged the back end of Spicy, nearly lost it, held the slide beautifully. No damage, just only a little bit of pride damage there for Duke.
Yeah.
But he's now chasing.
Tickle there.
Yeah, he's chasing Spicy, and he's got 70% ERS. Spicy's on 10. He needs to do something. He needs to just accept the fact he's going to lose a position and start saving some ERS because it's going to hurt him.
Yeah. I think he's in it right now. It seems like his mindset is, I know my ERS is a problem. I just don't know what I need to do to fix it. And ultimately, it's just the way that he's going into corners. And then he's coming out of them. He keeps going to mode 3, which absolutely destroys it. But here, he should be in 0. Staying in 1 does not help you. Going to 0 really generates the ERS. You'd be easily 20-21% coming out of that there. And that extra percentage, whilst it is only minor, does make a difference over time. You keep doing it, you're going to have more and more to fight with. And he wouldn't now be selling 5%. He'd be in a position where he could actually go for more than what he is right now. But he's still going to be able to pull it off. And that's immediately Jurislav into the pits. And he's lucky because Jurislav would have been an absolute meh. But here's Dwip coming for him. He's gone right on past him down the inside. He needs to make sure he's got a full car ahead if he wants to properly benefit from this. And
well
he
ahead.
is. And now Spicy is just going to have to follow him along in the same way he did with Jurislav.
I don't think he'll be able to follow him along. Jur's just going to pull away because he can use his ERS to do that. Spicy is still 16% and yellow fuel. He was unable to. I don't think he did anything to bring himself back into it during that virtual safety car. Stick it in mode 0. Stick it in lean. Save your fuel. Save your ERS. He just didn't do anything. He had yellow fuel throughout that era. Virtual safety car. Yes, it went off and then back on. So he obviously wasn't doing too much to prevent it. It's not like he had it enriched and just forgot to move it down, but that mistake might cost him a podium. I mean, he's got a good run on the hards, and he's doing the strategy that I said would be worth doing. Whether or not it's going to work for him, we're going to find out. But yeah, he needs to.
Can I just quickly point out how Yonti has defended so well against Dan? I don't know. I mean, obviously, I've not really watched them too much, but in terms of the timings, I keep keeping an eye on it. Spicy gets a 3-second time penalty. Vexation in pits.
Let's have a look at it.
But Dan is just doing so well at keeping him behind. He's not exactly flying away. Look, I mean, he's 1.6 seconds behind Meister. Ultimately, he can change that at the drop of a hat. When you look at the ARS levels, he's actually still got quite a considerable amount, given the overall pressure that he's under right now from Dan. 3 DRS zones means he has to turn it up. But with the he's already gone to mode 4 just to help him defend against him, and it's working. Dan cannot match his pace despite the fact he has slipstream, despite the fact he has DRS. He's just not able to capitalise on it.
He's not putting down his ERS. He is on 80% ERS is Dan. He could use a lot more, and he needs to start using it if he wants to make a move on Yonti. Maybe he's fancying an undercut or something later on. Wants to save it for that outlap, but I mean that could be 10 laps away. It doesn't really need to be thought about at this stage. And yeah, so he's got chances here.
Oh.
Again, that's 6 penalties, 6 seconds of penalties from now. He needs to stop that. That's what's going to cost him. At the moment, it's costing him a podium. It could cost him a race lead, even a win. Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got the pace for it. He just hasn't found the line to stop him from getting warnings and penalties. I mean, right now, like you say, that 6 seconds does mean that he's going to be he's just going to fall down to P4. But if he carries on, he's going to drop even further than that. He's going to be below Dwip, and Spicy's not that far behind Dwip as well, so he's going to actually gain up on him eventually when he gets into the faster tyres. And Maranello Baby's in a similar sort of situation as well, and you know, it all sort of just falls apart if you get these penalties. And the main one to think about is that final chicane. It's just so easy to get it there.
Yeah, he's got 2 penalties. We're on lap 12 of 35. If you think about it, he could get another 2 or 3 before this race is over. He needs to just reel it in, work out. He also needs to go back to doing time trials and work out the lines through the corners, because it's going to cost him here today. I'm sure he knows that, but
well, Duxby is looking for an attack on Vexation. At the same time, we have Dan who's looking for an attack on Yonti, but Yonti's into the pits, and now it's all about this little battle here for the final 2 positions between Vexation and Duxby. Obviously, we've still plenty of laps to go, and this could change at any opportunity.
Yonti's going to 2-stop it.
Yes, he is.
Interesting. Well, we'll see if that
works
works out.
Here we go, Duxby looking for an outside line on Vexation, nowhere he can get through there. He's going to have DRS again, but that's not going to help him. He's not going to be able to do anything more than just hold it together, and Vexation stays alive.
Yeah. So interesting that Yonti's going to go for the 2-stop. We'll find out if that is quicker over the whole race. But yeah, so you'll do 6 or 7, maybe 8 laps on those hards. That'll bring him to around lap 20 on those softs. So he'll be doing mediums, softs, mediums by the looks of things.
Yeah,
I don't think he might get 2 runs out of the softs, but you look at how long everyone else lasted. They lasted about 8 to 10 laps.
Yeah.
So he might.
And the other thing to think about is that they didn't do any qualifying pace on them, so that is literally the tyre length. You know, as it stands, there's 22 laps remaining, not enough lap. Oh, okay, here comes Beaker into the pits. Is he going to go mediums to softs, or is he going to go mediums to hards?
Well, I think they'll probably on very similar strategies, won't they? Because they're teammates, they talk all the time. And yeah, so what do you reckon they are going to do? I mean, you've raced far more races than I have. Do you think they're going to 2-stop on to softs after this, or 2-stop onto mediums after this?
So, medium softs.
Oh, Beaker's just come out right in front of Vexation. Sorry, this could be a bit interesting. Vexation's right on the back end of Beaker. Beaker's got fresh tyres, but it's like cool. Can Vexation take advantage of this? Beaker just needs to control everything at this point and try and stay ahead. I think he's done it. Those tyres were coming up to temperature very quickly, weren't they?
Especially on the softs, they're easily going to be in a position. Like by now, they'll already be at temperature, and you're going to see him just start. He's already pulling away. Look, he's already in a situation where he's starting to break away from him. Duxby is really looking for an opportunity there on Vexation, but there was nothing he could size up there. But it's all about this back straight. Vexation needs to stay within DRS of Beaker to survive at least another lap. He's got it yet, so that means now that Duxby is not really going to be able to do much more other than pray that Vexation doesn't get a better exit, and it looks like actually Duxby made a mistake there.
Yeah, Vexation, one thing going for Duxby is Vexation seems to have some lag issues. You see the little icon next to his name, a red cross means he's not connected, and the lack of fully filled lines also means he's having connection issues. So he'll start losing time because he'll just lag back a little bit every now and again. He'll just slowly come back into you, and you get a chance to go past. So Dan's gone mediums to hard, so he definitely won't stop again.
But he is actually under attack already. Pragioko 4/10 behind him and on medium tyres. Dan's tyres will take about a lap and a half to properly get to temperature, where he can be a little bit more aggressive in the braking zones, a little bit more aggressive in the attacking areas. And now you can see Yonti and Marinelle, baby, they have swapped places. Yonti up in a P3 now. Those softs are working wonders for Yonti in terms of his actual pace. The big question mark right now is what strategy can he do, and is he going to make it to the end of the race on a... well, he can't. There's no way. I'm not even going to try and pretend like it's doable. So that is just impossible to take those softs all that way.
Yeah, absolutely impossible. He's not even reached half race distance on mediums. So to try and do it fully on softs, I think is bonkers.
Yeah.
And crucial for Yonti now, he needs to get past Spicy as soon as humanly possible if he wants to continue his charge, because Dan will start catching up, and Yonti needs to get a pit stop ahead, so 20 odd seconds ahead of Dan before coming in to keep that position. Yes, okay, he'll come out on some nice quick tyres, but you've still got to be ahead of the driver. As
oh no!
Yeah, I just saw it go through. He's still on the back of Spicy. Here comes some DRS rate. Is he going to take advantage of this or wait for the big one? I think he's got to go for it as soon as he can, hasn't he?
Well, yeah, he's got mode 5. Look, he already knows it. He's got to go for him. He's already gone back to mode 0. So maybe he's going to hold out for him instead.
Yeah.
Maybe apply pressure to Spicy and just hope that he makes a mistake, but he didn't. And that's what's helped him stay good for the rest of this series of corners, but it's about this one. This is the most important one for every driver on this track that's defending or attacking. You need to get a solid run out of the corners. Spicy tried his best, but it's not worked out. Yonti's already closing on him before we even get to the DRS activation line, and now he's already made that move happen. So it's going to purely be Yonti running away with this now and trying to close up onto the back of Meister. Because realistically, we're talking about deltas now. Meister's delta is in a position where when he pits, he will actually lose quite a lot of positions out of this, because Yonti is eating into the time that Meister's got currently.
Depends what Meister's going to go on to. He's doing a long stint on the mediums. So is he trying to go medium, soft, softs? And like Yonti, he'll probably be going medium, softs, mediums. Can Meister be looking to double stop onto softs? Is that his aim today? We saw softs doing, as I said earlier, about 9 laps. So it's getting right to that point, isn't it? That he might be able to do it.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, the situation I was expecting was for Meister, is the strategy that Meister's on right now, which is the mediums to softs. The problem is, and this is the factor that we have to think about, is that yes, Yonti is absolutely destroying the time that Meister's got currently. He's eating into it and bringing that gap ever so close. If he can match Meister's time, if he can get to the point of when Meister pits, Yonti might actually still win this.
So you
if
think
he can get that to 0,
one-stopping?
then he will do it. Yeah, Meister's absolutely one-stopping. There's no way he's... Because if he's not, then he's made a big mistake already.
Unless
you want to pit now
softs.
to go to mediums right now. Sorry, to go to hards. If you're going to pit to hards, you need to pit right now to go to hards.
Yeah.
If he doesn't, in the next 2 laps, he's going softs.
Well, I think even he has to get to probably a lap 25 before he can think about going to softs for a 1-stop. Everything's pointing towards a 2-stop on mediums. It's just those tyres are starting to be feeling really bad. I mean, maybe he's just nailing the strategy. And Yonti and Biko have gone quite conservative and going to do softs, medium, softs. Meister might go softs, medium, soft, softs. That might be what's playing towards him at the moment, because he's going to need to stop soon, and it's not going to be in a good position to go onto hards. So we'll see. It's an interesting position to be in for him.
Yeah, it really is. So Yonti's got a lot of work to do. There's a lot of battling going on as well. We did see Beaker get a penalty earlier as well, so he's going to have to try and figure out how he can recover from that one. Yonti's not making his race engineer's life easy, let's be truthfully honest, with that penalty. it's kind of really put a dent in his hopes for what he can do to Meister. It's all about how well Meister handles his situation. If Yonti can destroy that time and get it down to a big fat 0 when it gets to Meister pitting, then Yonti's actually effectively got a free pit stop out of it, if you think about it. If he gets it to 0, he's not really lost anything. He's actually brought it back to square one. The thing to think about, though, is that when Yonti switches tyres onto the next set of softs, he will have to match Meister's pace, if not more. But having seen how quick he is right now on these softs, I actually think he'll be able to do a lot better than Meister.
Yeah, but he's probably only got 2 or 3 laps left on these softs. He's not going to catch up to Meister in that time unless Meister has a bit of a mistake.
Yeah.
So I really don't know what strategy they're going for. I'd like to know. I reckon I mean, I still reckon Mesa's going to double stop it onto softs. But I don't know. He may go hards. But is one stint of hards... Is one stint of hards better than 2 stints of softs? That's the question he's got to be asking himself right now.
For raw pace, surely not. That can't be doable.
Over race pace of 15 laps, that's what we've got left. Which is quicker? As Spicy's thrown it in the pits. He'll be going to mediums, that's for sure. So he's got...
He will.
We've got 15 laps left. That's 2 very easy stints on the softs. Or 1... If he puts the softs on it, oh, Beak a little slide there. It's... don't know. I would love to know what he's going to go for, and we're going to find out in the next few moments as the yellow flag's going up all over the place. I'm not sure who that's for. That's for Meister!
What's happened to Meister? He's really... Has he got
front wing damage?
He has.
Front wing damage as well.
No... Yeah, well, he may have a front wing damage and a puncher, but that's his race over. That's it. He's gonna... I mean, he's been sort of like having issues just racing lately anyway. He's not been too happy with his pace, but yeah, is that rear left? I think it is. Yeah, it is. Oh, no. But, I mean, this isn't the first time we've seen Meister try to extend the life of a tyre, and it's just gone a bit too far. But yeah, that blew off pretty hard. If he'd managed to somehow keep himself out of the wall, he may have been able to recover it a little bit. But yeah, he's in a position now where pit stopping now is the only solution, and he might even retire.
I don't think he will. I think he'll go on to hards now. He probably was coming in this lap anyway. But he's now going to get out everyone's way as they come through. New wing, hard tyres, my prediction now. And see if he can make it somewhere.
Yeah. I think Yonsi's been given a very... Oh, okay. So he is going for it then. He's not backing out of this.
15 laps on softs.
Still going to recover. Well, I mean, if his mediums are anything to go by, it's not going to work out.
Well, I mean, he did a good stint on those opening mediums, so maybe he feels like he can do it. I don't think he can.
14 laps on the softs and that's 15 if you include the out lap as well. Oh, it's going to be a really... I mean, he's 18.8 seconds behind Maranello Baby right now. Granted, Maranello Baby's on hard, so that time is going to just fall apart in no time. If he can catch Maranello Baby, then he can actually gain quite a lot of places out of it, because look how close they are all together. The only real problem is when you get to P4, and that ultimately isn't that big a deal. If you can take P4, you're laughing, really, in terms of recovery drive. That'd be something to admire.
Beaker's gone in quite early. Yonsi came in first last time. Beaker's coming first this time. Beaker's going to mediums.
Yeah, it's got to be.
So maybe I think
they were going to go medium, softs until Meister had that problem. And then that was immediately, okay, we're going to go medium, soft, mediums. Just play the safe card. We don't need to do anything more than that. So I wouldn't be surprised if Yonti comes in next lap. The thing he's got to worry about is... he's still not that far ahead of Dan. He's only 5 seconds clear of him, and then he's got 8.9 seconds behind him for Vexation. So ultimately, he's going to still come out around about P5-ish, maybe P6, depending on how bad it actually is. But yeah, I don't know.
He could come out.
He's definitely got a pit there.
Yeah, he could come out just behind Spicy, ahead of Fragioko, and they're going to be on fresh tyres as well. So he's going to be battling the moment he comes out, but he's going to pit probably this lap or next. Softs or mediums though, that's the big call. Go. Softs or mediums? He's coming in. Quick, answer. I've said softs or mediums, I said, didn't I?
Mediums.
You recommend? Oh, I'll go softs then. And it is
I was right.
Mediums.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the strategy I called originally, but...
Yeah. No, I think the thing is, I think you go for the right one anyway. You know, you were right. It was mediums. I don't even want to take his softs as an alternative. You know, he had to. His hand was played for him. The good thing is his medium pace was still pretty solid overall. It's just that he wasn't really living life when his fuel was
he's come out
so
right
much.
behind Europe. He's going to make a move immediately. He is. This could end really well or really badly. It's ending really well. It has ended quite well. That was so important to make that move that early on.
Yeah.
He's not going to get DRS and Vexation, but at least he's got past one person immediately. He's not stuck behind him for half a lap. And 2 seconds off the back of Vexation. 11 seconds back from Dan. Dan already has 6 seconds of penalties. Yonti has 3? Off my memory, I think he does.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that's the thing, is Yonti's now got that little buffer, if you like. He doesn't actually have to push seriously hard, but he can't also, dawdle around the track. He has to still give it a good push in order to close up and secure that sort of gap. And you want to capitalize whilst your mediums are in such good condition. Use the grip, use the performance you can pull from the tyre, and just close right up to him. And then all you have to do after that point is just apply pressure. And then Dan, I mean, you saw what happened when Dan was under pressure earlier. He got 6 seconds worth of penalties. That'll only extend, providing you can close up to him. Beaker sets the fastest lap there. He's down in P7 at the minute. He's within DRS range of Fred Gioco, who's also in DRS range of Spicy. So realistically, Beaker is in a pretty solid place. Climb up a few more places, maybe even get himself on the podium at the end of this.
Yeah, he's not out the runs a possibility. He doesn't have that far to go to reach a podium, does he? He's not too far off the back of Spicy, who's P5. Then Duop's got a few penalties to his name, so that should be an easy one. Vexation will be easy to take once he gets there as well, so he could realistically take that. And Vexation does have penalties and very old hard tyres. We'll see how they do. Mesa's 4 seconds off the back of Jeruslav. I think he might be able to get some points, but it's not going to be too many. You just got to hope he can get just a couple, because he's trying to charge after Yonti here. Yonti's coming to this race. Yonti was 53 points clear at the top of the championship, ahead of Meister. So if Meister doesn't score, that is going to be a big lead going into France next week. Fred Gioco, 3-second penalty to his name.
Yep. Fred
10 laps to go.
Having a little bit of pressure, feeling, bearing down on his shoulders now as Beaker's actually getting to the gearbox of Fred Gioco. And the other thing he's got to be thinking about is, I'm looking at the Mercedes in front of me trying to attack, but I can't shake the fact I have to stare in my mirrors as well, because Beaker's right there on him and on quick tyres. I mean, they're not that far off, and it is quite nice to see he goes 5.43 in terms of the tyre wear, but Beaker's going to be better off overall. He's got 2 cars worth of slipstream. He's obviously going to have DRS as well to work with, and Spicy now has to stay in the same range as he is right now on Dwip in order to properly attack.
Yeah, the one thing probably going through Fred Gioco's mind is the last 3 things he's probably seen on this screen. Beaker fastest lap, Fred Gioco penalty, Beaker fastest lap. He knows he's coming, and he knows he's got penalties to his name. Fred Gioco's got penalties to his name. He's under pressure there, and it is a lot of pressure to be taken as Yonti's trying to press a Vexation for P2. Vexation is sticking to the inside. Yonti's got to try and go round the long way, and he is just ahead. A little bit of a nudging going through the corner, but he's done it as Beaker does it on Fred Gioco as well through the same place.
Yep, so Haas team ordered that one around, not necessarily in the way that we would have thought, but both Haas drivers attacking into the final chicane, and all they've done is proven that it is possible to attack in that final chicane without causing
he's still salty.
Driver to rotate.
Are you still salty?
No, not salty. just proving that it can be done. But Fred Gioco is yes, he is still on the back of him, and albeit realistically it's not going to be anything different, I don't think, unless Fred Gioco's found some pace somewhere. But you can see the way he came out of that corner, he tried to get on the throttle a little bit too early, sent him out wide a bit, almost collided with a wall, and it's just stuff like that that's causing him to lose everything here as Dwip just hits the wall a little bit. This is bringing Beaker into it now. He's already knows he's got DRS set up for the home straight. It's all about this attack down here. He's locked up pretty heavy going into that hairpin. That's actually caused Dwip to go wide. It's going to bring Brad Gioco closer to the back of Dwip, but this now is Beaker attacking hard. Dwip's also got DRS. He's also got the slipstream, and he's already on the back of him. This is going to be a tough area to attack if he wants to do it. We talked about it earlier. This is the final chicane, and it's going to be Beaker's just ahead. Dwip had to back out of there, but he does again have DRS. Fred Gioco, though, is in a better position. He's actually slightly closer than Dwip is to Beaker, and I think ultimately we're coming to turn 2, and I don't think it's going to be anything more than it is right now.
No, as is once again, and I'm just looking back at Mesa, wondering how is he getting on. He's actually falling back from Jeruslav. Is he still actually in the game, or is he left? Oh, he's in the pits. His tyre has a shot already, and
no, it's retired.
That's it. Yeah, he's had enough. Understandable already when you get a puncher from the race lead. Fred Gioco's looking on the back end of Europe. He's going to switch to the inside here. Not normally see an overtake here, but he's going to go for it. And he's a nose ahead into the braking zone. Now, will he get DRS from the back of Beaker? he doesn't. It's just half a second off. So do it. We'll get a
No.
charge back at him.
I don't know
Sorry?
if you pointed this out earlier or not, but both Fred Gioco and Dwip both have right end plate missing. So that's obviously going to help. It's not going to help them when it comes to left-hand turns. I'm trying to think of any areas on this track where left-hand turns are actually requiring any aerodynamics here. But, oh, there's a battle going on further up. Oh, it's contact! Beaker and Spicy.
Ooh.
I've been in the exact same shoes there, Spicy. I know that pain. And unfortunately, Spicy's been rotated in the final chicane. And I wouldn't be surprised if Beaker gets a bit of a telling off for that one.
Unfortunately, I missed it. No damage though for Spicy. He gets away with it. But he's down now in P8. Drip's in the pits for his fresh soft tyres, so he'll be flying in a little bit, but he's going to be a bit down on pace, a bit down the grid compared to everyone else. But Beaker now up to Vexation.
Yeah, and he's actually not far off him at all. The podium is definitely looking like it's going to be on the cards here, and if he somehow manages, yeah, well, this is. I mean, having said what I said earlier about Beaker might be getting a bit of a telling off. I only caught the aftermath. I caught like as it happened, but I was in a distance, so I didn't quite see entirely what happened. It looked like it happened in the braking zone, so maybe it wasn't quite the same situation as the one I received, but the outcome ended up being the same. So Beaker might actually be safe. We don't know. Obviously, it's down to the stewards to have that conversation and work out where he needs to sit. But Beaker knows what he wants to do, and that's make quick work of Vexation going into the final game. We're gonna have a repeat of the same situation.
Yes, we are.
Exactly the same situation. Vexation gets sent off into the wall, and he's gone into the pits to get his wing replaced.
I think Beaker might be sitting in the steward's office for a little time tonight.
Yeah.
2 incidents in 2 laps at the same place just scream you've done something wrong, don't they?
More than once.
Yeah. So Vexation new wing, he's going to drop right down to P10. At least he'll still get points here today, and it's better than nothing, which is what some people are going to get. The one thing I'm looking at now is Yonti to Dan. That gap is 5.5. Can Yonti close up to less than 3 to get the win, or has Dan somehow nailed this beautifully? As Duxie B is battling with his teammate Maranello, baby, on the mid straight.
Yeah, Duxby had a really bad exit in that corner. He just lost the back end a little bit. He caught it, don't get me wrong, but he's in a situation where he's still having to attack his teammate as hard as he can. And bear in mind, Maranello baby's 13 laps in on hard compound tyres. Duxby B is 7 laps in on his mediums. He should be, in comparison, flying, but he just isn't. He's now going to be in a position to attack. He's got the ERS already set for everything he needs to line it up. There's another penalty, so that's Yonti now. Ahead, he's going to take the race win overall. Beaker, though, might be in a position, but here comes Duxby. No, not going to be able to chance it there. Maranello baby stays live. Duxby, gets the penalty for cutting the corner a bit on the second part of the chicane. And now it's going to be an attack going in towards turn 2. Swings it out very wide there, and that's actually cost him a fair bit. He's going to have to take a really tight line through turn 1. Oh, turn 2, sorry, and he just can't do anything about it. So Maranello baby holds on.
Yeah, he got out there on the marbles, so he didn't have much grip, but Duke goes fastest of everyone down there in P9, so he might get an extra little point out of this. Although I think Vexation might want to take that point off him as a bit of justice. So he picks up a 3-second penalty. But a couple of battles going on. You've got Marino Baby and Duxie B battling, and just further behind, Drusaf was close to Spicy, but now Spicy's just broken that 1-second window. And Duxie B's taking it quite carefully at the moment, just lifting off on the straights because he knows he's got a better straight coming up.
Yep. Exactly. Dan still 4.2 seconds ahead of Yonti in terms of physical position on track. Penalties will obviously take account, and that does mean that Yonti is going to take the race win. Unless Yonti makes a big mistake, which we hope not to see. 4 laps remaining, 5 if you include the one that they're on right now, and ultimately it's going to be still pretty tense towards the end. Beaker's got an opportunity to close up here. I'm just going to pull up the gap to lead. It's 10.9 seconds. Beaker's got 3 seconds. Ultimately, we're looking for the 6-second gap. Still a lot of work for Beaker to do if he wants to go for it. Duxby is still looking for an opportunity. It's not going to come to him right there, but he's now got an alternative line. Again, had to back out.
Do we have penalty updates in today, or?
Well, we can hopefully get one. A nice penalty update would be super important to us, but no, we don't have that right now. Maybe Haas Engineer can get in touch.
Yeah, Fragiaco is hovering on the back of Beaker, so if there's less penalties for Fragiaco, which I don't think there are, but there might be, and he's closing up, so he might be able to take a position here and ruin Beaker's day. He's closed that gap up to less than a second and will be inside that DRS. Now, actually, he's already got it. But he didn't get the drive off the corner, so he's dropping back a little bit. And can Francesco get a podium here today?
Oh, I would love to say yes, but I don't think he can. Now, here we go. Finally, Duxby manages to... Again, he's just taken such a wide line there. He's made the move happen. He's got the position on it, but he's not setting himself up for necessarily the best run-off to an attack. He's now up in a P5, though. This is a really solid position for him to be in. I don't know if they had team orders, there's the words. Jurislav coming up to the back of Spicy. No attacking here. It's going to be all about now preparing for that final few laps. And Spicy makes a mistake. This might be Jurislav going for an attack here.
No, you need a big mistake off that corner for anyone to make an attack. And that wasn't a big mistake. It was a little wobble. That was all it was. Yonsi's closing up to Dan and is going to be in position to make an overtake potentially on that last lap. He's getting close. Francesco is still hovering around the back end of Bika, not in the DRS zone, so he's just fallen back a little bit. And I don't think Francesco is going to be able to nick that position off Bika before the checker flag falls. But Yonti and Dan might have a little battle, and this could be big for Dan if he can get Yonti to pick up like 2 penalties on the last couple of laps, which okay, out of the realms of possibility, but you never know. Or have a spin through just pure pressure, then Dan might be able to take this. It's not a dead cert just yet.
No, definitely not. The thing is, if Yonti gets a penalty or two, or if there's contact between the two of them, it could all fall apart. That's what makes racing just so entertaining. It can change literally at the drop of a hat, like it did for Meister. He was looking so comfortable out there in the race lead, and without wanting to rub salt into the wound, obviously took the tyres a bit too far, the tyre popped, and that was it. His race was over from that moment forward. It literally a split second caused it. I don't think he even had a chance to blink before he found himself in the wall.
Yeah, well, they just go and he's like, uh-oh, I'm going towards the wall. Can't do anything about this. I've only got 3 tyres effectively on this vehicle. Just going to have to take the hit and hope those tyres stay on the car when I hit the wall. Is Francesco close enough? He's very close. He might be just nicked it again. And no, yes, he has. So Francesco getting
DRS?
Yeah, but he's just outside a second.
Yeah, he's not got it. He's just outside.
No,
he's also got the yellow fuel warning light.
He does have it, but he's not using it.
I don't know if that was a visual glitch for you, but I didn't have it on my screen.
He's flashing orange on mine.
Well, I mean, his ERS levels are taking a hit, that's for sure. Look at that, 14% right now in comparison to Beaker's 20-odd%, and that's after the braking zones for both of them. But Beaker does have an issue in that his yellow warning light is on, so as it stands, he's got to basically run this lap and the next one in full conservative mode, whereas Yonti, who's sitting pretty happy at the minute, is all over the back of Dan. Dan, who's been running in race lead for a while, knows now that this is it. I'm going to lose the race lead. It's all about damage limitation. He is just over 9 seconds from him and Beaker, although Beaker has his own penalties, which is going to help Dan in that respect. I think Dan might actually secure P2 here.
Yeah, it'd be a good result for Dan. Didn't even expect him to be up there, but he's absolutely nailed it here today. Got P2 on the grid, got the race lead into the first corner, but unfortunately just cracking a little bit under the pressure. Picking up a few penalties and another penalty. So that is 12 seconds of penalties to Beaker's 3.
Yeah.
Beaker needs to step up a little bit.
Well, that's it. I mean, like we said earlier, when Yonti closes up to Dan, Dan's in a position where he just struggles a bit under the pressure. Gets that 3-second time penalty, and now he might be feeling pressure to try and push to close up onto the back of Yonti, especially with the fact that he's got that penalty. So there's still a possibility, even though we're on the final lap. I thought that was it there, but no. Where he could get another one. Beaker's now brought himself within the penalty range of Dan. Something to bear in mind, though, is that this will still be relative, if you like, because the stewards have still yet to be involved in some of the incidents that happened on the track. And we don't know how severe, if that's even going to be a penalty for Beaker, but
I'd be surprised if it wasn't.
At least one. Yeah, same.
I know Beaker won't want a penalty, but the way he just took 2 people out, well, I don't think it was on purpose, obviously, he just might not have left a little bit enough room. We need to see complete onboards of everyone to fully judge. Maybe he left enough room and the other guy just took the wrong line and went into the side of him. We don't know.
Yeah.
I had not the greatest view. I had a view of it. But yeah, he will claim P2 at the moment as Yonti claims P1, Dan claims P2, and Beaker's going to jump up in a moment.
Indeed, here he comes now. Haas 1-2 would be great. Is Fragioco going to be able to jump anybody? He's not, so P4 for him. Duxie B is coming in, but there's a battle going on further downfield as Dwip is looking for a move here on the McLaren. That is not going to work out for him. Jurislav might need to get a better result. He's not, and there was a bit of contact between Dwip and Jurislav, which means Dwip cannot pass him. Oh, I thought he was going to fail.
He had lots of penalties anyway.
Yeah, he did. Vexation actually beats him there.
Yeah.
So a little bit of a I don't know, like a consolation prize, if you like. There, he did actually still get a point on the table, and I think he also got fastest lap, if I remember correctly.
I think you're right.
Which means he'll get 2 points. So that's the end of the Grand Prix. It's going to be a Haas 1-2 with a Toro Rosso there in P3. Dan tried his best to try and hold on, but just too many mistakes on a track that is very penalising towards penalties anyway, and yeah, he got that. So Yonti P1, Beaker P2, Dan P3. Really solid podium overall. And we're going to have a quick rundown of all the drivers and their finishing position. So Yonti, like I said, takes the win. Beacon P2, Dan P3. Fragioco had a really solid drive up, P12 to P4. Really good stuff from him. Marinello Baby in P5, Duxaby P6, Spicy P7, Jurislav P8. Vexation managed to secure a P9, sorry, not P10, P9. And Dwip in P10. Yoldabamus finished a few laps after everyone else, is in P11. And then the DNF is where Meister, Dennis, and Hazard. Hazard obviously having the issues with his pedals. Sorry. So now the final question to ask you, Casa, is who's your driver of the day?
I'm going to give it to Fragioco today. He just drove a complete. It wasn't an exciting race. He just drove a race. Yonti had a little bit of battling, but at the end of the day, Yonti's position, he didn't really need to do anything. He could have just sat behind Dan the entire race. Dan would have crossed the line ahead and had penalties and gave it back to Yonti, so he didn't need to do anything at the end. I know it sounds odd, but a great result from Fragioco. That's given him a nice collection of points. He's actually going to move above Hazard, I believe, in the standings, up to P4 for him. So that's good.
Good stuff indeed. I agree with you, Fragioco, driver of the day. No reason to even slightly dispute that. He had such a good drive from P12 all the way up to P4. And almost took P3, and he might actually still take that podium if penalties are issued out to some of the drivers. But we'll have to worry about that later, as that is the end of the European Racing Series Grand Prix. So thank you everybody who tuned in. We'll be back. I won't be back next week. It'll be Casa that's here next week. I am in Turkey. I'm going to be sunning it up, having a great time. Hope you're going to miss me, but yeah, happy days. And now I have